Well, welcome to today's episode. With us today is Marc Von Musser from Soar and Roar. Marc started selling everything from candy, car wash tickets, and newspaper subscribers from the age of 10. He's personally made over 500,000 sales calls, knocked on over 10,000 doors, and done over 10,000 one-on-one sales presentations. In the past 5 years, his clients have sold over $1 billion. That's billion in revenue using his methods. Marc's biggest pet peeve is people who give selling a bad name by using outdated and manipulative pressure selling techniques. His innovative methods honor the prospect, quickly identify if they are an ideal client, and whether you can help them solve their problems. This creates a win-win and insanely high enrollment rates with almost no cancellation or refunds. For those of you just joining today, we at Strativa AI help businesses use AI to streamline workflows, delight customers, and grow revenue faster without adding more staff. So if you're interested in a free growth consultation, just drop the word growth into the comments below. So Marc, thank you so much for showing up here today with us. Please share some about Soar and Roar and this long history that you have of sales.
Sure. Thanks, Mark. First off, great name, misspelling, but hey, it's so funny. My mom was from Norway and mine's with a C. I can't tell you how many times I go and they spell it with a K.
Really?
Yeah, always. It's like M-A-R-C. Okay, got it. M-A-R-K. It's like
They put it until you put a K anyway. Yeah, they always ask at least, and then they screw it up.
Exactly. How do you screw that up? But they do. So
Right.
Soar and Roar came out of really a lifetime of studying sales. As I was talking before the call, I love sales. I love the concept. And a buddy of mine who was on one of my teams, he's like, Mark, why do you still have so much passion for it? And I said, that's easy. I love the process. I love people and I hate the way it's currently done. So those things create a inner fire for me to try and what can I do to make it work? So over the last, as I was mentioning, I've done well over 500,000 calls. You stop counting after a while. But part of it is it wasn't about the sale. I wanted to honor everyone I was on the phone with over the years. But over the years, I started noticing all of the sales process were outdated. They were the alternative advanced close, the Ben Franklin close, if I could, would you close? And so one of these things that they did was the buyer over the years has been inundated nonstop, 24/7. Hey, where's your wallet? Give me your money, right? I mean, it's almost like getting mugged. When I open my text, I'm getting mugged. There's 30 people in there. When I go on Facebook, there's 100 new ads there asking me to try and give me their wallet. When I'm driving, when I go to the gym, when I'm listening to Spotify, when I'm watching TV, even on the streaming services I pay for, they're throwing ads. And then not only that, they're also paying to put them in the product. It's kind of like this. It's like, hi, Mark. Yeah, boy, I bet you're thirsty. Let me take a sip of sparkling protein. Bet that, and they're paying for that. So there's the overt ask and there's the subliminal ask. But what I was fascinated with over the decades was why do they say yes and why do they say no? Especially when my product or service could have helped. And so that curiosity is what's kept me sharp in the game. So that being said, Soar and Roar was coming around because the only sales training that was out there were these manipulative sales tactics. It doesn't feel good for you. It doesn't feel good for the client, but that's all there was. And when I went to work for Tony Robbins, I took over his coaching department and I grew it from about 2 million a year to about 30 million a year.
Nice. And when was that?
That was in about 2010, 11 to 2015.
Okay.
And so I came in and they were about 55 coaches. When I got there, I could see the challenges immediately. I let go of a good 20 of them, maybe 25 or 30, and I rebuilt it to 150 agents, coaches, and they were the best in the world. We trained about 700 hours a year just training after you're certified and got your skills. And when you're training that much, you get really good. But I also noticed they were absolutely averse. They did not want to sell, period. End of story. I dug under the hood and I started asking them, I was like, well, why don't you want to sell? And they were like, oh, manipulation. It's deceptive. It's not my job. I hate the way people do it. And I said, yeah, but that's not how you have to do it. but there was no system in place to show people who hated the outdated, who wanted an authentic way to do it that was based on integrity. So that's where I started, actually. To give you an example, Tony asked me to look at the product sales that the company was doing, and they had a product sales team, and then people were supposed to sell product, but they weren't. And so I looked at all the products Tony had. He had a ton of them. And I asked my coaches, I said, do you believe in the products? I said, yes, they're great. I said, so why with that many coaches do we only have $11,000 in product sales? And they were like, because it's not my job. Oh, I don't like it. I don't want to feel pushy. I don't want to break the all these fears were coming up, and it was like a gold mine, because this isn't just coaches. This is everybody. So I rewrote the structure. I showed them how to not sell, but serve instead. And this was the genesis of heart-driven selling. And I said, if you knew the best restaurant in all of your city, and your mouth would water, you would be telling your friends, you would be crying the food is so good. Like Del Frisco's for me. When I went to Vegas, 42-ounce tomahawk ribeye, I swear to God, I could not talk. It was so good, my eyes were starting to tear up because I had never had something that good. Well, if you have that experience, would you share that with people you care about? Yes or no? And they go, well, of course I would.
Right.
And I said, so why
100%.
aren't you doing that with products and books and things like that? And
Yeah.
that was where I started learning and started teaching advocacy and heart-driven selling. Long story short, the 6 months I did it apples to apples. The year before, in the first 6 months of the year, we did $11,000 in product sales. Using this heart-driven approach, the next year in the first 6 months of the year, we did $2.1 million in product sales.
No kidding.
And we didn't sell
Amazing.
anybody. We simply added value. Now, here's a funny
Right.
story. There was a director there, I don't want to throw him under the bus, but he came into me and said, with his finger wagging like this, I said, is it true that you told your coaches that they could go ahead and steer product to somebody else? And I said, oh, I'm not sure on the instance, but I'd have to say more than likely if it serves the client, yes. Serving the client is our number one value. And he says, oh, do you think that so-and-so Tony doesn't have books? And I said, Tony has great books. He's got 4 bestsellers. But I said, the person that I steered them to and recommended was a guy that has 39 New York Times bestsellers. He sold over 500 million books. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Tony doesn't teach you on the mechanics of selling books, does he? And I said, here's the deal. I can do it your way, where we did $11,000, or you can trust me that I know what I'm doing, and you can go ahead and get another $2 million as I show people how to serve their client. Now, here's the third piece I told him. I said, why don't you check at my retention doing this versus other people? Before I got there, we were only keeping 18% of the coaching contracts.
Okay.
Only about 30 were completing their contracts. So there was like $20 million of unclaimed revenue because the coach clients weren't completing their contracts.
Yeah,
so I
they were
said,
dropping out, huh?
yeah, I said, just tell me, do you want me to do it my way, or do you want me to go back to the old way? And needless to say, we know what he said. And so I kept driving on this process about, how do people want to buy? What are their problems they need to solve? How do I get really, really good at getting right to the pain, show them what it's costing them, and then from a place of integrity, decide, is my product the best match for them? And when it is, I will speak with conviction and passion like you've never seen. And if somebody else is better, I steer them that way. You can't fake integrity. You either steer them to what's best for them or not. So by doing that, when I went to a new company, Clients on Demand, they were at about a 3 to 8% enrollment rate. And now, all of a sudden, using the system that I created, all of a sudden, we jumped to 38% enrollment for the same process and same leads.
Sorry, you said that at the beginning. So they started at what, and you got to 38?
They were at 3 to 8% enrollment.
They were at 3 to 8, and then you got them to 3. Oh, wow. Okay.
So here's an example. When we did that, they did $116,000. They had 16 sales out of 224 calls. 2 years later, using my system, because it takes a while, I had to get people that understood it. I trained them. 2 years later, with 241 calls, we did 1.2 million in cash collected. Same number of calls, but literally an 11x on that. And that's just the front end. The back end doubled it. So that's just an example. When you actually care about clients and you're in a position where you're going to serve, but you don't just hammer them for a credit card, you decide, am I really the best guy to serve them? That gives you a position of moral authority, and you have an obligation if you're there. It's their decision to buy, but it's your decision to stand in your advocacy and share with them all the reasons you can help. And it massively skyrocketed, and that really became what Soar and Roar was about. So,
Okay.
as you know, I've trained over 5,000 businesses on that, and we did well over $1 billion in 1 year from all of these companies, what their sales did. And it feels good for you. It feels good for the buyer. And that's really a huge difference between this and any other selling system that's out there.
Fantastic. And so Soar and Roar launched when?
Soar and Roar technically launched at the beginning of 2024.
Yeah.
And I started working with, smaller clients, and it's really a 3-tiered process.
Yeah. What is?
One is to train sales teams or salespeople. If you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, a coach, a consultant, if you're a salesperson and you want to have incredibly high enrollment rates with low cancellations, that's sales alchemy. Sales Team 6, which is a subset of this, is to train your sales teams. As you know and remember, I've done that thousands of times too. So training sales teams is different. You have to understand each person in the team. You have to understand what gets the best out of them and link them to purpose. So that's a whole different thing. So I train the sales trainers, managers, or owners on how to really build and run a phenomenal sales team that's optimized. The
Mhm.
third one is sales consulting. And that's where we go in and take a look and an audit. And we look at, okay, what does your funnel look like right now? What's your acquisition? What's your sales cycle? What's your profit margins? How bad is your sales turnover? Things like that. And then we tighten up every single one. And the goal there is to double or triple your sales within 3 to 6 months. So those are the 3 main portions: the consulting, the sales team training, and then also the actual people that want to sell for themselves or sell their products and services.
Fantastic. And then what is it? Are you a solopreneur? Is there another engine behind this, or what is the team like?
Yes, there is. And so part of it is, again, when the market started to change, I started training on this previously, and I said, guys, you have to be efficient. And this is where AI comes in. I said, as AI comes into play, you must figure out ways to use it, because if you constantly have to hire new people, you're going to make a lot of money, but you won't have any profit. AI is arguably the best tool that you can find to go ahead and optimize profit. And again, a lot of people are using it for content. I think that's the weakest use of it. I think the best use of it is, how can I use this to optimize profit? How can I use this to increase my targeting? How can I use this to figure out a way, rather than just putting content? How about you do a SEMS Rush or a ChatGPT or a Claude or whatever? What are the top 10 search terms in my industry? How could I answer those questions? And so by doing this, you become more efficient. So the team right now, as I do a lot of it, the head of mindset coaching and also sales training is Jesse Torres. You might remember Jesse.
I
And then
do.
we have some virtual assistants as well. And then the difference is, rather than have them under roof, we have somebody that does ad copy. We have somebody that does Facebook ads. We have so we have different people, legal and all these different pieces, but the core hub, I want to keep it as small and as tight as possible.
Smart. Yeah, efficient. And that's certainly where the AI comes in again as well. And so then maybe especially maybe the first model, do you have people going through the program in cohorts, or, what does the group aspect look like and your
So
scalability?
the way that we do it, and it's important, part of it, when I started training coaches and I was training other businesses and realtors and offices, normally most sales training was done either in a complete group without no supervision. You get your training, your CDs, your modules, your book, and you
Yeah.
figure it out on your own. Then there was also the one-on-one coach. In that one-on-one coaching, we did a lot of that at Robbins. I think we had 150 coaches. We were probably doing 10,000 coaching sessions a month, maybe more. So that's a lot of coaching. But I realized that there's a missing element, which was the group coaching. Group coaching creates something called an egregore. An egregore is where all, as we create that energy, whether you like it or not, you're going to start getting energized. It's kind of like going into a dance hall. If you're in the dance hall and the music's going, you're going to start feeling and going, like this.
Yeah. You're going to
But
feel it.
if you're alone in a cubicle, if you're sitting there looking at your bills, you're not in a position to enroll anybody. So I did what I call a success hybrid structure. We do one-on-one calls throughout the program. So the one-on-one calls are designed to make sure we're clear on your target, you're clear on your action steps. Anything that's in the way, we remove that, and then we make sure that you're getting your outcomes and you're going through. Then we also have all the modules, everything, the core. If I talk to you and 100 people, about 70 to 80% of the content I share with you is going to be the same for everybody. It's generic, general. These are principles and values you have to learn. And then 20 to 30% is going to be specifically for your niche. And so the modules you can watch over and over again because repetition is the key to mastery. So hearing it, reading it once in a book is not going to do anything. You might as well save your time. So you go through the modules over and over again, and all of a sudden it clicks. Principle 1 clicks. And you keep going through it. Now another one and another one. You're like, holy crap, I didn't remember that being in there because you weren't ready for it. So we do the modules, and the modules are spread out over 8 weeks. And you can go through them quicker, but I don't want speed. I want you to go through it until you master it and understand it. It changes the way you sell everything. Then every week, twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we also do a group training. You come to the call, anything you're not clear on, ask the question. So your questions get answered. Any clarification you need, anything, hey, how do I apply this to my business? Hey, I've got a speech coming up. How should I prepare for that? How should I structure my talk? How do I set up the back end? Hey, I've got a podcast. How should I present my product and service? Hey, I got an opportunity to meet with the head of B&I. What should I say? How do I structure it? Hey, I've got a breakthrough call. All of these things are mapped out, and you bring those questions to the group call. Now, your questions get answered until you're absolutely clear and your vibration's really high. But there's another benefit I figured, that not only will you learn from your questions, but the guy ahead of you, another guy in the program who might be a week or two ahead of you, he's asking questions you didn't think to ask. So you get an accelerated understanding. And it's different when you're on the hot seat. When you're on the hot seat, everyone's looking at you. You kind of, but when it's somebody else asking the question, you get to go, oh crap, I need to know that too. So you're able to receive that information without being on the hot seat.
Take it in.
So those are the group calls. We do group calls as well. In addition, we also have a private community. The private community is where we post things, we celebrate, we do a lot of work in there as well. And that's really important too, because you have to have a community, because you don't want to wait 2 days sometimes. Sometimes you need that. And that's also why we have a help desk. So if you have an immediate question, we can answer it. But that's really the structure. And it's the best of what I did with one-on-one coaching, the best what I've seen out of group coaching, the best what I've seen from just having content. And so all three of these become exponentially more powerful.
Nice. And have you found that in any of your 3 sectors, right, and going through to like coaching the sales team managers or an entire sales team, and then the final one, are there certain segments of industry sectors that tend to be more, repeat clients, or that you kind of specialize in?
Well, I'm known as pretty much the guy that cracked the code on selling high ticket. And so I'm the most copied person in high ticket sales. It's really funny. The guy now who's the most successful, who's making the most money, is doing about $6 million a month. On his training program, he is literally reading his iPad like this, and he's literally reading my program. He's just saying, okay, and this closes, this means this is when you're doing this means you set it up. And I mean, he's just doing it. And I'm not going to fault the guy, but he doesn't understand. Yeah, he doesn't understand about the caring. He doesn't even talk about that part. He's just like the structure, but he's missing the heart set, which is about
missing the core. Yeah,
be of service. And so there's a lot of people. It's also, to answer a previous question, it's part of why I decided to get out of the shadows. I'm the most copied. I mean, I can't tell you how many of the top people. One guy, I won't say who, he's doing about 700,000 a month. His webinar is my exact talk I did from 2013. Slides that I had on there. And I'm like, what are the odds that he was in the audience in 2013, and my entire explanation of the sales industry, the sales market, the changes that happened, the changes that are coming, that's his webinar. And he's done very well. But I figured that if they were explaining to be of value and be an advocate rather than a closer, I probably could be still helping other businesses. Now I have to get out in the forefront, because at the end of the day, it's not enough to know what to say. You have to come from a place of genuine care. And if we're going to change the industry to make it respectful again, we need a whole new way to do it. So the kids that are coming up, the young businesses who hate selling, they need to have an alternative. Go, wow, that's not only more effective, but that feels good for me and the client.
It feels good. Yeah, they have that connection 100%. In today's trust void, that's huge. And so coming from that place of really establishing the value and the connection, right? So that the client, the potential client, however you want to say it, like the feeling that they get of like they get me, right? Like
Yes.
that person that they're talking with, you or whoever, right? Like they get me, they hear me, they understand, and they know my situation. And yes, now my gap that I have is absolutely relevant to the solution that they have and can help me get there. Like they literally see themselves and kind of sell themselves in that sense.
Yes. And to answer your question though, who is it? Honestly, I've could pretty much, if they have a real product, a real service, and
Hmm.
they really care, those are
Yep.
things I'm listening for. I'm not going to go ahead anymore and just train people. I'll give you an example. I had a program called 30 and 30 in real
Okay.
estate. It was how to get
Okay.
30 listings in 30 days, which was something that is very doable if you understand the process. So
Yeah.
I was
Also very
teaching.
aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing.
very good. The average realtor gets one listing a year, just by comparison. I'm showing you how to get 30 in a month. And even if you sucked and only got 10 listings a month is over 100,000 a month, right? So it's a really good income. But part of my commitment and part of my ask of the people I was training is I said, I want you guys to do everything you can to really maximize the amount of profit your seller receives. I want you to stage the home. I want you to make it smell like it's a frickin' bakery. I want you to
Right.
make it have lavender in the bathrooms. I want it to be spit clean. I want to have spray ryegrass in their thing. I want to make sure there's topsoil there. I want to have music, soft Baroque music that's just subtle, but just enough. And I said on your ad copy, I want those pictures photoshopped. I want sunsets in the background. I want cute little scenes, clean the crap off the counters, make it look like a model home. And then I said, when you get to the ad copy, write it to sell it twice. I said, you've
What do
got,
you mean by that?
okay, yeah, in order to sell a home once, you have to sell it twice. First, you have to sell it to the buyer's agents and the other realtors. They in turn will sell it to their client. And
Okay.
most people forget that realtors want to do the least amount of work and get the most money. So, for example, I did a study of the top 100 homes that were sold, 100 homes in this demographic. And then I looked, and 80% of them were at 3% or above commission, right? 80%. Uh, about 15% were at 2.5%, and 0.5% were 2% or 1.5%, right? But when I looked at the inventory, I did in a similar study where I pulled 100 properties on the market. Here's the difference. 80% of them were offering 2.5%, only 10% to 15%, depending on which group of 100, about 15% were at 3%. But 80% of the sales were at 3. See what I mean? So
Yeah.
what's happening here is the buyers are, can't say it's illegal, but they found more homes in the 3% category than the 2.5, even though that's where the bulk of the inventory was. So when I understood this, I said, okay, how do I sell it? So I showed the realtors how to write ad copy. I was writing ad copy in those, 300 characters that you get. You need to use all of them. If you've got 16
Yeah.
photos, you use all 16. You put in a
100%.
virtual tour. You have
Yeah.
incentives. I was giving away free laptops to the buyer's agent. I was going ahead and giving incentives to the buyer. And some of those rules have changed, but that's why my properties would sell really fast. And that's what I shared with the realtors in my program. So let's jump ahead. They're loving the content. It's not a parroting of anything else. It's all new content. It's all new strategies that flat out work. So I'm going through their MLS and I'm going through their sales, and they're celebrating. I got this sale. I got 4 sales this week. Oh my God, I got this. I got 2 more sales today. And then when I looked at their MLS ad copy, I'm like, well, wait a minute. You only use 4 photos. There's no ad copy here. There's no incentive. Did you stage the property? No, I don't do any of that. I just do these pieces because it doesn't take any time. And I said, well, let me get this straight. You sold it for 800,000, right? But the list price, it should have sold at about 840 if you really did the other things, because the market would have held 840. He goes, yeah, but I was able to sell it in 2 days. And I said, at whose expense? Nobody's expense. The seller got 800 grand. I said, yeah, but the seller could have got 820 to 840.
Right.
Who's going to pay that 20 to 40,000? Do you think they needed that? He goes, yeah, but I would have only made an extra 1,600 bucks or so. And that right there, I said, okay, we're done. So I stopped that entire program, stopped training, because I was like, I'm not going to argue with you guys. You can't be a little bit pregnant and you can't be a little bit in integrity. And so,
Uh-huh. Right. Right. Right.
but I can help pretty much anyone's the ones in high ticket. coaches, consultants, speakers, contractors, lenders, realtors, doctors, chiropractors, acupuncturists, oriental medicine, psychiatrists, psychologists, hypnotists, anybody that has a real service and a real program. And also I want to know that they actually care. So those are the
Mm-hmm.
kind of people that I can help.
Mm-hmm.
There's one other
Fantastic.
thing too, Mark. Here's another difference between me. I remember when I was like training people in timeshare, there was only one timeshare salesman, but her stuff, she could only train that. It wasn't very good. It was also outdated. So the people I trained outsold everyone in the company that was following this other system. And then the sort of thing knows that I can help people whether they're doing one-on-one appointments, if they're selling from stage, if they're selling from a podcast. As you know, I wrote the book, Get Booked and Get Paid, on how to make money on other people's podcasts.
I do.
I can show you how to make money from pretty much any platform there is, including one-on-one, organic marketing, paid traffic. Once you understand the principles, selling is an act of service. It's an act of helping other people solve their problems. So the
Totally.
vehicle and the platform is irrelevant. You just have to make a couple of tweaks depending on how much additional buyer trust you need to cultivate and create.
Yep. Yeah. Nice. Nice. And Mark, you started to allude to using some AI in your businesses these days. And so would you say that that is kind of like internal for the way that you've put together your programs or your own internal workflows? And or do you also have anything that any of the people that are going through your coaching or your clients or your sales managers that you're teaching that they're using in some way, shape, or form?
Yes, I have to coach people on AI. And I'll say,
You
secondly,
do.
I am not an expert on AI, but I can see some of the mistakes already. So I'm coaching my clients to fix that. The M dash is an example.
Right.
Please,
Classic M dash. Yeah.
if you're going to
I don't know
do
why they even still have that.
here, so I'm Hillbilly Billy, and I'm going to be selling you some real estate. I'm up here in the Ozarks, and I love this. And then you see their ad copy. Back in the day when real estate was challenging, I found it was critical to have. And you watch this whole program. Hey, did you get my article? I said that. And you're like, you didn't write that. And then the 30 M dashes are indicating it. If you're going to do it, authenticity is the highest frequency a human can evoke. Now, I'm not against using it to help bring some content, but learn how to get rid of the M dashes. Secondly, go through
Yeah,
your content and then make sure it reflects you. I would rather
exactly. Yeah.
speak like me than sound like Shakespeare. Shakespeare's a much better writer, but guess what? He's not selling and he's not training sales. But if I want to go ahead and do that, I'm not Dan Kennedy, I'm not Grant Cardone, I'm not Tony Robbins. So if I'm using it and then I could make it sound exactly like anybody else, but you lose your authenticity, hence I'll give you an example. Somebody in the Facebook space, I won't mention who, but he's very big. He's been doing this since at the beginning. And I asked him and I said, here's my beliefs on AI. And he goes, you're spot on. He goes, every single guru, and he knows them all. He goes, every single guru tried to pawn this off on AI. Every single one of them imploded. They had to scratch it so quick because something was missing. What was missing was authenticity and human heart.
Yeah.
So I can still use AI. I think it's fantastic to say, hey, I want to talk about sales training. So I can go into chat or any of the good ones, SEMS Rush. I can go in and saying, list for me the top 10 searched words in the area of sales training. You know, for example, I'm in air conditioning. List the top 10 topics people are looking for about HVAC. Share with me the biggest fears about people buying HVAC. And now it can give me some ideas, but make sure when you talk about it, it's really your experience. Don't use their stories, use your own stories. You know, hey, Mark, I've been in HVAC for 20 some years. One of the biggest complaints I get is that people were promised something low, and then by the time it's done, it was almost double. The upsell. And here's what I can tell everybody watching. Upsell accounts for 95% of most contractors' profit. It is built into their training model. Here's how you beat it. You see what I mean? But that's
Hmm.
my experience if I was in
Hmm.
HVAC. And so if you do that, you can preserve
Hmm.
and actually amplify your authentic voice. And that will make you stand out in a crowd where groupthink and group talk is what everybody's hearing. It looks great, but it doesn't
Hmm.
activate the human being. So if you want to activate the human being, it has to come from you. And for example, right now, there's 100 people that quote unquote do what you do. But you know what they don't have? You're caring. We don't know because all they're doing is just talking about AI, AI, AI. So
Yeah.
AI is very powerful. And again, like the internet, I think we talked about this the other day, but The internet isn't going to last. For anybody that thinks that, bulletin boards, I mean, who has time for the internet? I have a business to run. That used to be the standard of thinking back in 1990, 91. Okay. Was it 91, 92? Let me think. When was I in the Navy? I was in 91 to, I was right in Desert Storm, 92 to 96, maybe. So about 30 years ago, I remember the powers of be were telling me internet wasn't going to last. And I'm like, you're crazy. And smartphones would never work because you can't get that much information on a phone. And if you didn't understand how to use the internet, you would be replaced by someone that did. The same is true for AI. You have to understand it. You have to know how to use it. And again, garbage in, garbage out. So you can have access to the most powerful tool ever. But if you don't take the time to learn it or hire somebody that can do it for you, who knows where to put your attention, you're going to be replaced by somebody that will. But I don't want you to replace your authentic voice. And as high tech goes up, high tech has to balance it. Those two have to be in equal. If it's this, you're going to have a huge problem. If you're doing maybe a low ticket, easy entry, easy, good bonus, good guarantee, you can get away with low ticket, but I'm not talking about low ticket and selling ebooks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so as you teach, do you have an actual module on AI, or as these things come up, either in those Tuesday, Thursday sessions, are you just like incorporating it with some commonalities on what you, just like what shared with me there, and then go into specifics per industry or what have you?
Yeah, there is. It's funny you mentioned that. I was talking with Jesse last week and we're like, you know what? Let's go ahead and add, and we made a list of the extra bonuses or sections and modules we're adding. AI is one of them for the reasons you just mentioned.
Ah,
But yes, normally we just handle it on the Tuesday and Thursday calls. You bring
yeah,
it up and then I kind of walk you through the prompt thinking sequence. Okay, what is your
nice.
desired outcome? Okay, what is it you really want to get? Okay, what kind of a question do we need to ask to get that? Okay, how do you refine that? How do you bring your voice? And so we'll walk them through the process. But because it's becoming so common now it's warranted a deal. The benefit of my success matrix, the way that we set up our structure system, when I go ahead and I'm doing training after training with the people on the Tuesdays and Thursdays, after you listen to module 1, for example, module 1, oh my God, this is amazing. Again, let's just pretend 10 people in a row said, hey, I got a question. On module 1, you said this. How do I get deeper here? If I hear a consistent question over and over again, that tells me that more depth is required in training. So I'll do a module 1B.
Right.
And then if that doesn't do it, I get a mod. So the program evolves based on the feedback because the market is evolving every single day as well. This was a huge difference between me versus a lot of the guys training. They're training systems that worked on door to door when no one would go to your door. But now door to door selling is not the same. And now all of a sudden it's on tech selling, it's on Facebook selling, it's on direct mail, it's all these different things. So the content has to merge as the buyer evolves. You have to create new strategies to get past their new blocks. When they evolve again, you do this, just like a football game. Do you remember the greatest show on turf, which was the LA Rams?
No.
Kurt
What was that
Warner.
about?
Hey, they came out. Kurt Warner, he was in the Arena League. He was a teller at Vons, stocking shelves for Vons, and he had a dream to play in the NFL. Kurt Warner, the guy won an MVP. And as happened, he refused to quit. He started going, well, he got hired by Mike Martz and the LA Rams. And back then it was crush 'em football, right? We're going to beat the ball down your throat. Look at how big our uglies are. Those guys are 700 pounds each. Look at how ugly they are. Those guys want to rip your head off. And then we'd run the ball down your throat. That was traditional football. Mike Martz had a different opinion. He goes, well, everybody's out there and they're big and slow. What if we had fast receivers, fast running backs that were they could catch, they could run, and we're just going to go, boom, two yards down, the guy gets 20 yards. Hey, we're not going to play the traditional football. They changed the game, and they dominated. They were running up the score like nobody's business. Before that, it was Don Coryell and the Chargers, Air Coryell. And so this theory worked really well until it didn't. All of a sudden, the defensive coordinators go, holy shit, we have to start recruiting different. We have to train different. We have to block them at the line of scrimmage. We need a secondary. And then they adapted, and then it stopped working. And then when it stopped working, then another guy came along, if you remember Bill Walsh and the Foreigners. He did the West Coast offense, which was different, and it was just pretty much either run or pass, and we're just going to do a quick slant before they can get on you, get 7 yards. And they shoved that and won 3 Super Bowls. but it stopped working when the defense is adjusted. And then the offense will have to adjust to that adjustment. It's also called halftime adjustments. The same is true in business
Sure,
and
sure.
sales.
Yeah.
And nobody else is talking about it. They just go, "This is my wonder system. Look, it worked." I kid you not. This one lady copied our website, copied every name, everything on there. She forgot to take out the meta tags, and then she was pretending to be the victim, like, "How dare you attack my integrity? I've been doing this for 10 years." Well, she was in Forbes 5,000 15 years ago. She hasn't innovated anything since, but she's trying to stay relevant. And
Right.
she doesn't realize her launch strategy that worked with Jeff Walker back in the day, it doesn't work today.
Yeah,
But she
yeah.
had nowhere to go. And that's pretty common with a lot of the gurus. It worked. We both know one that it worked for 5 years. It doesn't work anymore, any more than the launches or blogging works like it used to, any more that just having a website was enough. I remember, I'd go back so far, a website when I had it was a big deal. People
Yeah.
were like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, you've got a website."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wow. You've really made it. You've got a
Yes.
website.
This one guy goes, "The reason I hired you is because you had SMS or SaaS. I can't remember which one it was. He was so impressed that I had a website, I had a free report, and I had the ability to SMS or SAS. I don't remember which one. But I'm like, are you kidding me? It's not back then. It's not my 40 years of experience. It's the fact that I have something that I could have paid for.
A little
But
tech. Yeah.
yeah, go figure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's, everything you have to be so kind of adaptive and on the
Yes.
fly, but knowing where you're at. I mean, I've got the hockey analogy for you. Like, you've got that football one, I got the hockey one. I was watching my Boston Bruins the other night, and David Pastrnak got his 400th career goal, and Wayne Gretzky was commenting on the game, and in between the first and second periods, he was like, "These players today are doing things so differently. Back in the day when we had a breakaway, it was we're either shooting or just doing a quick little deke, and that's it. We're going straight for the goal. We're doing one of these two things. These days, the skaters are coming in. They're using their edges on their skates all differently. They're stopping in front of the goalie, and that's exactly kind of what Pastrnak did as he scored that goal. And it's all the way that they're adapting their game, right? And you're not able to win on these old techniques anymore. You're like the realtor who has that, 20-year-old picture on their
Right.
card thinking that their tools, their techniques, those are going to work the same in that hard sell, that push. Like,
Yes.
that is sleazy, like
Yes.
people are just going to literally shut that door right away on you. If you're not leading from that heart, you're not feeling it, you're not on the edge of your blade with the literal cutting edge of things, but all the while just having that human connection. I mean, for me, when I bring it back into AI, it's always HAI. It's always the human artificial intelligence. It's where they meet. And the people that are most successful and will be the most successful and won't get left behind are those that are going to be up-leveling their game
Yes.
because of AI. So it's like the cognitive upgrade versus think of like the college students that are writing their papers with AI and then just turning something in that they haven't even proofread or done anything. So they're doing the cognitive offloading just to get by. Well, you know what? Those jobs that they think that they're going to get by just doing that, those are going to go away. It's the successful people that are utilizing AI and doing the iterations over and over and over to make it relevant for them in their life so that then when they're, in your case, doing sales, or in someone else's case, maybe they're doing customer service or they're doing product development, whatever it is, right? But they're coming from that point of being like the carpenter who's proud of his work. Like every time he slings that hammer, the energy that's going into that nail, he knows that that pride of work is going to be there for as long as that building is standing.
You're absolutely right. And think about it too. Imagine if you don't use your creativity, right? You don't sit there to problem solve. You don't figure out, okay, and spend time thinking. If you stop doing that and just turn it over to AI, what happens to your creative thinking, your critical thinking?
Yeah, it just
It's
dries
going to
up.
atrophy. Yeah, it's going to
Yep.
atrophy. And there comes a day when you don't have AI, where you're on the site and you're there with somebody as well. What are you going to do? Say, hold on, let me go to my AI. I want to see how they should handle this. And it's kind of like, because that was one of the things that I know is, for example, with objection handling. I studied
Huh?
objections for easily 30 years intentionally to figure out, okay, what's happening and causing that. Objections are caused by lack of clarity, lack of certainty, or they don't like you or trust you. So if that's the case, how do I fix that? So there's a very successful guy. He's worth a couple of $1 billion. He was quote unquote the self-anointed best sales trainer, which is total crap. He was a car salesman. I won't get into it, but basically he didn't even have the highest percentages on the team, but because of the way sales are done on a car lot or in timeshare, something called front of the line privilege. If I get a sale, you go right back out. You've got 10 sales guys on the team. The high sale from the month before goes out first. Number 2 goes out. You follow? Second, third.
Yeah.
If I'm
Yeah.
number 1, and all you have to do is get number 1 the month before, you're going to go out a lot the next month because you're hot. Go out and get it. Timeshare does this too. A lot of companies do. So he goes out first. He goes out. He doesn't get a sale. He comes back. Now, number 3 also went out. So he's going in front of number 4. He gets a second one. He doesn't get a sale. He comes back and gets another sale before number 6 gets even one tour. Now he has 3 tours before number 6 even got one. He sold the 6th, his 3rd tour. Now he goes out again. So he goes right back out before number 7 gets one. He has a number 4. He doesn't get it. But at the end of the day, he sold 3 cars, but he had 9 appointments. The salesman number 10 got 1 appointment, but he sold it. Now, guess who the salesman is? The first guy. They didn't look at the fact that he had 9 at bats. He got 4 sales. One guy had 1 at bat and he got 1 sale. And everything was rigged for just push them through. They didn't care about your percentages. Well, that's a risky game when you're paying $200 to $1,000 for a breakthrough call. You don't have the luxury of just spending $10,000 to maybe get one $3,000 sale. And so I realized that you have to get really good. And what was missing was actually serving the client. If the number 1 sales guy would have just loved everyone like Joe Girard, who's the world's greatest car salesman of all time, if you would love them and serve them and they'd come in and bring referrals, that's a different percentage. And so this is one of those things that just seem to happen. A lot of these guys that are out there doing this, they're spewing a bunch of shit and people say, well, he's a billionaire. Yeah, he made $1 billion because he got into real estate. He started buying apartments in hotels, but that doesn't make him great at sales. I'll give you another guy. Another guy they made a movie about. Wolf on Wall Street, $250 million.
Right.
Look, he has a yacht and a jet. I do not have a yacht and jet, but I can outsell that guy 1,000 times in a row because he didn't ever sell. His straight line method is dog shit. It's a rebranding of all the stuff from the 70s. It's not how he made his money. He made his money by lying to people, telling them that this penny stock, I can't wait to tell you, this penny stock's got gold written all over it. I'm buying it myself. And if you want to be a man and you want to retire in 1 year, you need to buy it now. Put all $100,000 of your retirement in it. You'll be worth $10 million. That's not selling. That's why we're in this
arm
mess.
twisting. Yeah.
But
Concept.
people consume because he had a movie about him. And it's like, that's the sort of thing that when you think about it, it's like sales could be an act of service and it could be something that's respected again, or you could be just like some of those guys and end up, that's why the reputation is what it is.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you have to use AI because you have to understand it. But if I get out on the field, this guy that we're talking about, he teaches, here's my 150 master closes. Really? I want you to go ahead and tell me your 150 things that you need to do. In the split second, you have to do it. As opposed to my system, which has 1 objection. It applies to every objection. Mark, I don't like you. You're too short. I hate your voice. I hate the way you talk. Your energy drives me crazy. You look like, you're a piece of shit. Whatever. Doesn't stop me at all because 1 objection will mean, will it work for me?
Yeah.
That objection only has 3 faces. Price objection, which is it costs too much or I can't afford it. That's the price objection. The second face is my partner, spouse. I need to talk to them. Or number 3, I'm just thinking about it or gathering information. Those are the 3 faces. And as I refined it, I realized that's much easier to think what's happened on any objection there is. They went from their heart where, oh my God, I want a better life. I want to use AI. I want to make sure AI can help me get there. I could retire. I could take my wife home from her job and retire my wife. I could be with the kids. Those are heart emotions. And the minute the money comes up, we go up here. And in the head, I don't want to argue a logical argument with another logical argument. I can put them in their heart. They can't argue this one. I have to get a transmission. Tell me what your wife would be most excited about with her retirement. How would that change your family dynamic? How proud would you be? You see what I mean? That's different.
Yeah. So
and
that's dropping them down.
Yeah, most of the objections that are taught out there are wrong. They're outdated and they don't work. So, Mark, on a scale of 1 to 10,
Mm,
where would you rank yourself on deciding to buy this product? Well, Mark, what do you think? Okay, you're at a 7. What would I need to say or you hear for me to get you to a 10? Now, am I in my heart or am I logically trying to play ping pong with a smaller paddle up here?
yeah, exactly. The latter.
And so that's why it got bloody. And then it usually devolves into insults. Well, you don't sound like a man. I'm not sure you're worthy of our service. And now they're going to try the posture and the intimidation or the takeaway, the wonder takeaway close. Well, I have only got a slot for one person. I've only got one person that we're going to teach my magic secret sauce, and you'll lose your free PDF. It's like some of
Right.
that stuff is like everybody knows what's going on. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
was really
exactly.
funny when I was selling in timeshare. I had to wait till I got out of the Navy to get my real estate license reactivated, get my broker's license activated. So while
Okay.
I was waiting, I went to work and help a timeshare because it was really easy. It was Thursday night, one tour, Friday night, one tour, and then part-time Saturday and Sunday. Super easy gig, super fun, free food, great times. I got to meet with people. It was a lot of fun. And it was just so funny watching the different people, even with the strategies there. And what I did is I went in there and I loved the product, but I hated the way they sold it to me. So I did the
Yeah.
opposite.
Okay.
I went
Okay.
in there, and then when we'd sit down, I'd say, now here's the game. This is going to take 3 hours, and in an hour of me beating you up, that guy over there, he's the closer. He's going to come over here. And they go, I know, we all know what's going on. And I said, but hey, Mark, you wear glasses. I like men with glasses. In fact, I've got a pair of glasses right here too. I really like you, Mark. Wow, we're best friends. Wow, I'm going to take $2,000 off right now. Hey, Mark, you've got a beard. You got a better beard than me. I'm going to take another 1,000 off. Well, and I walked them through the process, and they're crying, laughing, going, it's so true. And I had the highest VPG after 1 month and never looked back
No
because
kidding.
I was just going to say, hey, here's the deal. This is what it will do. This is what it won't do. Here's how to get more out of it. And I would explain it. And sometimes it's not right for you. That's okay too. But by doing that, I was addressing the elephant in the room called authenticity and honesty. And I would tell them, now we'd start the timeshare that wanted us to say, now today it's $29,000. But because you came in here, we want to honor that with a $2,000 discount. And you started at 27, but I could get it away at 20,999. I would
Okay.
just jump down to 29.99 and I'd say, hey, if you want to argue for 3 hours, I'll play that game too. I'm really good at that. But if you want to jump to the real price, here's the real price. Now, what can we do to make this happen? And people go, okay, that's what I thought. They always knew. And this is right when timeshare and internet was getting connected too.
Hmm.
So, so it's just one of those things, guys, where if you're playing to your strengths and it's like, talk about the elephant in the room, be honest about it. And again, if you can't help, tell them. I had this one guy. This is really funny. I had this one guy, and I got to a point where I said, hey, man, this is what it is. I did the whole thing, and I was helping people convert their timeshares into points so they would actually work. It's a great program at
Okay.
first.
Sure. Yeah.
So he comes in and he does, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And I said, great. I just here to show you what it is, what it is. And he gets up. He goes, well, are you not going to try and close me? I go, no, my job isn't to close you. My job is to explain it, what it is, how it'll solve your problem. And if you want to do it, this is the best we can do. So he gets up, he turns around and looks, I'm walking out the door. And I said, hey, it's been great meeting you. If you ever change your mind, I'll still be here. That's it. That's your close. I go, I'm not going to close you. You have to decide because it's your vacation. It's your life. So he goes to the door. He goes, last chance. You better close me. And I said, all due respect, I'm not here to pressure you to make a decision. I go, I gave you the prices, what work cost is on this. This is not where we make our money. We make our money in Kauai. So I going through this whole thing. He goes, that's it. Okay, well, all righty. He walks down the stairs, walks out to his car. He stands at his car like this. He stood there for 10 minutes waiting for me to come get him.
You're kidding.
He stomps back up the stairs, stomps in the room, opens the door, comes in. He goes, you weren't kidding, were you? And I go, no. And he goes, okay, let's do it. But it was like he knew the game of what it normally was played. He did
Yes.
not understand when somebody was being honest and truthful, which is really what he wanted. He just wanted to make sure if he signed on the bottom line, he wasn't going to find out a day later someone got it for 2,000 or 3,000 less.
Right. 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 Yeah.
So,
That makes sense.
and it was just so funny because I can't tell you how many different versions of that have been. One guy said, no, I'm the buyer. I'm going to tell you how it is. And I said, no offense, I'm the millionaire and I'm the one that consults and shows people how to do it. So no offense, but you can't tell me how I'm going to do the call, because I need to get truth before I can make you an offer and find out if we're a fit to work together. He goes, no, that's not how we're going to do it. I ask the questions and I tell you how. I go, all due respect, I don't think we're a fit to work together. And it's like, I have a right in my position to choose who I work with. And I'm only looking for people that are going to be honest with me. It's like an attorney. If you want an attorney, do you lie to your attorney when you're on trial for your life? I sure hope not. Your attorney's sole job is to protect you and get you as the least sentence or get you out of jail if you can. But you don't do that by lying to him, saying, oh, well, oh, yeah, I said I wasn't there, but they have video. Okay, well, maybe I was there. He can't defend you. And the same thing with an honest, heart-driven salesperson. They can't serve you if you're lying to the buyer and the buyer's lying to you.
Yeah.
And that's how most sales systems teach.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it needs to change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Interesting. And so, Mark, as we come into kind of land the plane here a little bit, if you will, a couple things. One is tying it back to AI and certainly centered around sales, or maybe even just bigger, like business in general. What sort of trends are you seeing now? How do you think 26 is going to start to play out in regards to how people in their businesses are using AI, some trends that they're seeing using that, may be well-founded or maybe like really the next best thing?
Sure. There's a couple, and it's a great question, Mark. There's a couple of trends that I've observed. You remember I talked about this 5-10 years ago. We're moving into what is called a trust deficit. All of these overwhelming, nonstop, incessant attacks for your attention and your wallet are creating a defensive, skeptical buyer. Okay. It doesn't matter what
Totally.
it is. If I pull up let me go to Facebook. I'll just give you an example. I start to scroll, I pop up on Facebook. Let me see what ads are popping up. And they'll start popping up left and right. Black Friday stage bundle, $199. You know what I already know? That one, I can get that same price today, or I could wait till Friday. The Black Friday's a scam. It's not going to be any different.
Totally. Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
I already
it's
know that.
coming
You
so
know
much
that.
earlier.
Correct. So what's my second ad? Cyber Monday sale. Learn AI filmmaking in home. Okay. Guess what? The price on Monday is the same. It's going to be today is the same as it was last week. So I already starting to doubt whether or not these are real, honest sales. 1 day only, lifetime access. Take class Superface. Do I really think it's only 1 day that I'm going to have access to this ad? So at its conception, it's a great looking ad, but right off the bat, I know it's bullshit. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me
Yep.
scroll to the
So there's
next ad.
that trust factor that it's
That's
totally
right.
lost.
They are inflaming the trust deficit.
Yeah.
The trend is going to be finding authentic ways for you to do it. Here's why I love
Yeah.
podcast guesting and podcasts. You can't fake a long-term video. You know this is not AI generated. You know that whatever I am, you might not like me, you might not agree, but you know I can support my positions and I have evidence to prove it, right? That's different than all these things in AI that are created. I'm not against AI, quite the contrary. You have to master AI and you have to know how to weave you within it. So the trends are going to be too. Everything you're doing, think, does this build my trust or not?
Mm.
If you remember 5 years ago, I said the leaders of tomorrow will be the most aligned, congruent, and willing to serve their fellow man. And I said, who you are in private will be exposed. Is that not exactly what's happened to politics and our media and our businesses?
Yeah. 100%.
They're all getting exposed for the dark, and we're just scratching the surface. This will continue for another 3 to 5 years. This is your opportunity. As all those celebrities, do we trust celebrities more today, or did we trust them 15 or 10 years ago to give us advice? What do you think?
Mm. Yeah.
We're
Do
not
we trust them
listening.
more today? No.
No. We don't listen to Taylor Swift and ask who should we vote for. We're not going to listen to somebody like Kim Kardashian who made her money in a porn video and now say, oh, wow, Kim Kardashian thinks that we should vote for so-and-so. No offense. I'm not going to take her advice on how I live my life. And so with a trust deficit, you need to think as a business owner, a salesperson, how am I building trust? Podcast guesting and podcasts are a great way. I would also say if you're doing that, anytime you use AI, get rid of the M dashes and make sure you go through with a U pass. I want you to put your language. Remember when we were kids in high school and we copy someone's paper? Allegedly.
Yeah.
Well,
Allegedly.
I don't want to use your exact paper. I'm going to use yours as a guideline. You're a straight A student. Let's say I'm not. I'm going to take yours and I'm going to modify it. Let's say yours was the fall of Western civilization. I'm going to talk about something about the main causes of the fall of Western civilization. I'm going to take it as a guide, an outline, and I'm going to add my spin on it so it's close, but it's not a ripoff. So I would say that's going to be one of the trends. The other trends is in times of turmoil, there's a way to get massive buyers when no one else can. Add more certainty that you are the solution. Add clarity that I know the problem and you can prove your solution. And number 3, show caring. Those are differentiators that will separate you from the pack. You will rapidly stand out, whether you're selling HVAC and those, whether you're doing solar, whether you're a contractor, whether you're a realtor, whether you're teaching AI. You have to make sure you bring you to the party, not as its sole thing. And there's some people which are trying to do faceless YouTube channels, faceless ads.
Right.
That will work to a degree. But if you truly want to make a difference, I'd recommend that the heart-driven people that care lead through that. That's going to make you stand out in a very big way. Another trend is it's not price, it's value and how well you can solve their problems. I've watched, if you remember Brian Aganad, Brian's a really good guy. He came to us and he asked me, he goes, man, he was thinking of going low ticket. And he said, one guy's charging $297, one's charging $497, and they're big. They've got a big group. They've got a big following. I said, that doesn't work. And so I looked at them, I looked at him and I said, he ran a test on 3 different funnels. He did a funnel with the exact same ad, but the price was $297, a different one at $497 and $9,000. Now at the end of the thing, he got sales in all 3. But not one of the people at $297 opened the program. Not one. Over half wanted a refund. The $497, most of the people, about 80% opened it. Only about 20% completed it. And nobody gave him a testimonial. Nobody was raving. The sales that came from the $9,000 group, they had the everyone opened it. Every referral he got, every testimonial he got was from that. And they loved it. And so what he realized was there is a sweet spot. You don't charge more for ego. You charge the right amount of skin in the game to get the client the outcome. If there's not enough skin in the game and you're resentful, like let's say you could make somebody $1 million, but because you listen to the wrong guru, you're charging $27 for your program and hope they buy upsell. You made them $1 million. The next guy made $1 million. You got 27. Some point down the road, you will start to resent your clients and it's not their fault, because you didn't have the skill or the courage to understand how to price it what it was worth. Now, if you were charging $10,000 and you knew you could get them at least $1 million, you're happy with the $10,000 payday and you're happy for them. Now you did 10 clients at 10,000, you made 100,000 and you made them 10 million, but you're not resentful. And now you can give them everything. When you're piecemealing it, it's like a relationship. You don't have a good marriage and relationship when you're doing the minimums. If you're going to be in a relationship, give it your all. If you're going to be in business, give it your all. And those are the trends that are going to be amplified moving forward. You have to serve more. When COVID hit, I told the teams, I said, guys, all the experts in the field said it's immoral to sell right now. And I said it's immoral not to add more value. I said right now we have to triple down on our service. We brought additional calls, additional coaching, additional strategies on how to do organic sales, how to go ahead and create revenue. And every single one in our mastermind had their best year ever during the lockdowns. Go do the math on that. Yep, nice. Everyone. So that's the trends that I'm saying. Trust deficit, learn about it, make sure you're not falling prey to it. And if you use AI wrong, you're going to make it worse.
Yeah. Enough said with that. You use it wrong, it's going to be worse. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not about like, okay, who's using it? Are you using it? The question is, are you using it well? All right. That's always the thing. Always the bottom line there. Yeah. And that ties right into the heart-centeredness, et cetera. Yes. And as we finally wrap up, can you also speak to your latest project? And that is centered around, when people are going into some slumps and what people can do when they're hitting a slump. Maybe they think that they're firing on all cylinders or something, but what sort of solutions do you have around slumps?
So first off, Nobody is above them. Why? Because we're all human beings. I'll give you an example. I had a client, he was enrolling at a 71% clip. He's doing about $250,000 a month. He's loving life. Everything's great. Well, something happened with somebody didn't deliver like they promised. Somebody kind of screwed him and stuck him in the back. Some of his clients made lies saying that he promised something. He had to go back and show that he never said that. He got the call recordings, but he was pissed. And he's like, he couldn't sell anymore. His sales went from 70% down to almost nothing. And he gets on the phone. He's like, it's not my attitude. It's not my attitude. I teach gratitude. You can tell I know this shit. I teach this stuff. It's not me. It's these leads. It's this. It's this. And I was like, okay, hold on. Is it possible, right? I've had some variation of this for freaking thousands of times. Every Friday on my Friday training calls, it would be people that getting them back into their flow state, getting them back into their heart, as opposed to nothing changed in their ads. Give you another example. Another lady was going, here, Mark, let me show you again. They don't have any money. They want it, but they don't have money. Here's another email, Mark. They don't have money. Oh my God, look at this. And I said, so is it possible in a world of 8 billion people that you are the ones that are consistently doing that? I got her back in her heart. She made $58,000 in 2 days. And after that, I go, wait a minute. I thought nobody had money. Started laughing because that's the kind of shift. So I put together an ebook about when I was training my team, I was looking at why did they go in a sales slump? And it's usually frequency initiated. When your frequency drops, you get out of your heart and into your head. There's plenty of evidence that people don't have money. But I want to be in my heart and I want to attract the ones that have money, the ones that are committed to solve the problem. So there's 7. I wrote the book, and again, we'll be giving it away, but it's a simple book, but it's going to show you these are the 7 main reasons why people go into sales slumps and some quick strategies on how to get out of them. And this is the thing. I had some of the best sales teams in the industry. And guess what? Every one of them went up and down. Every one of them. When somebody lied to them and didn't give them a card, or they gave them the wrong card, or they said something, or they didn't get the leads they were hoping, or something happened in their private life, you're constantly looking to build back up the human being. And all the other sales skills and sales strategies only tell you about closes. Here's how to be better at your script, but they skip the most important part, which is you, the being. And so the book will give you some insights on if you're in a slump, you're doing one of these 7, if not all of them. So it's a great book. I've already got great feedback from it. It's a simple book. You can read it in probably 10, 15 minutes. It was simply like, hey guys, you can change this very rapidly. It's what I do every single week for the last 15 years. It's helping people get back in flow, teaching them how to enroll more and get it. It's funny. I had two emails this morning from somebody that I coached yesterday. Both of them wrote me to say, oh my God, I got to split pay. I got to pay in full. Happens all the time. You get the human right, the sales come almost automatically.
I love it. Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. And so is this ebook for people that are in your program, or is it for the public?
For the public. It's for people that are in sales.
How do people find it?
Put it in the chat notes so we can go ahead and post it.
We'll put it in the show notes. Sure.
Go to www.soarandroar.com/sales slumps.
Yeah.
And that's, let me double check. I can see my eyes. Yes, that's plural. /sales slumps. And it's a great little book. And it's kind of like, this was almost one of the most common questions that I was constantly getting. Why did my top guy all of a sudden not be able to give it away? I'd get him back up. And then the next guy, he starts faltering, right? And so you're constantly navigating and people are up and down. So you have to have strategies to get those people always firing at their top cylinder. It's really hard. I had one guy, for example, he was doing 24 sales a month. He was bringing in about $240,000 a month, or about $3 million a year for the company. The guy was crushing it. All of a sudden, he dropped down to 3 sales a month. Now, he didn't forget how to sell. The market didn't change. We didn't change our targeting and our leads. So what happened? His wife decided she was fed up with Florida and she's going to Boston, whether you like it or not, taking the kids. You think that might screw with the guy's head?
Yeah,
when all he
100%.
wanted to be was a father and he hates Boston? He moved out of Boston for a reason. And now all of a sudden, out of the blue, so that's how powerful life can happen. And if you don't understand the human being, you can't properly train for sales. Right. And that's the biggest miss, not only the structure, because I think the structure is outdated for every other sales system, but they're skipping the 3 things. Mindset, heart set, and skill set. You have to have all 3, not just have parroted a bunch of words and memorized closes. So that's the big difference.
Love it. Love it. And how about Soar and Roar? Where can people find you and Soar and Roar?
And you'll get in there, and then you can also, I believe it's a / Sales Alchemy is on that as well. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me. We also have a Facebook group, Sales Alchemy as well. And I'll make sure that you get all the different links for people that want to find out more. I'm pretty easy to find. There's tons and tons of podcasts with me out there and interviews and stuff like that. So I'm pretty easy to find. If somebody has a need, they need to sell more, they're tired of outdated sales, they're wondering, you're going broke trying to pay for more ads, you need to upgrade your sales process and your mindset around sales. If you're only doing the one, you're never going to be able to outmarket your way out of a bad mentality and a bad skill set.
Love it, Marc. This has been fantastic.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having
so
me.
much.
It's been fun.
Appreciate your sharing. Be sure to stick around so we could let this update to Riverside. But thanks again for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You bet. All right, we'll let that. We'll do an edit out all the rest here as this does its uploading.
Cool.
Wow.
Do we need to stop recording or are we good?
I let it run just for a little bit because
Okay.
mine still says uploading here, sort of thing. So
Cool.
yeah, but Rekha will get the clips out to you. What's today?
Appreciate it.
Thursday?
I'll
Depends.
have-
Maybe tomorrow. Definitely beginning of the week, and she'll get the full version to you as well, so you could clip it up even further. And we'll put like all I said, the show notes together. Drive people to those sites. Thanks for sharing about the sales slumps. Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. It's so funny listening to owners of companies, who all of a sudden it's like they just want to fire the person and go get another one, not realizing your salesperson is your greatest asset. And if you serve them, they'll serve you back. But they're not a replaceable pen. And that's a big thing I get into in Sales Team 6 is how to raise them and how to go ahead and serve them.
Love that name, by the way, that play on words there.
Huh? So those are some fun things out there that I would say are kind of the shifts that are happening in front of our eyes.
Yeah, and I love it that you have this out as a free ebook, driving value there, 100%.
Yeah.
Totally resonates. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I love sales. When it's done right, it's magical. It's the last thing you should give up as the owner of your company. You can give up the mindset coaching, the welcome calls, all the different pieces, but ultimately when you're on the front lines selling, you're going to hear what people are asking for. You're much more in tune with your audience. And it makes your ad copy better. It makes your coaching better. But when you disconnect from that, and most people try and do it too soon, thinking that some for hire sales guru is going to solve it. And that's not the case.
Right.
I had somebody, we got her to 100,000 a month, but she hadn't fully embraced the sales process. So she decided to not take my advice, and she hired 3 salespeople so they would be able to replace her. And she went down to almost no money at all, less than 10,000. That's a big drop. And again, they had her convinced within 2 weeks the lead sucked. 2 weeks it took them to steal her dream and her passion because she had not been on the phones for a month. And that was a very expensive learning experience for her.
Yeah, right? Wow. And are you guys doing any in-person stuff, or is it all online?
Yes, we'll be doing more stages. I'll be doing more stages and probably do sales mastery event. I'll already do 2 sales mastery events in 2026 as well. And that's where it's a deep immersion where we actually role play back and forth with objections. We role play with presentations and some nuance about everything from AI to how to use AI for your sales process, how to structure it, how to get ideas for different things. How to sell from the phone is different than selling on stage, which is different than on a podcast. And we'll be covering the different aspects of sales.
Zoom. Yeah.
And you role play so you walk out of there with a massively enhanced skill set as well.
Right. Nice. Yeah, I'm certainly interested in, potentially attending, but then also helping promote those as well. And certainly just, promoting Soar and Roar. When I found you on Podmatch a little while ago, I remember checking out Soar and Roar, and I think that's the website wasn't totally current. Am I right in that? Is that what you were alluding to when we spoke a couple days ago and saying that you're revamping it?
Yes. And
got it.
Yeah.
I understand then.
I paid them a lot of money. They were going to do all of it and build it and had all the promises, and I sent over everything, and then it just kept waiting, and then they put up stuff and then took it down, and then I don't monitor that. And I assumed it was done because I didn't hear anything from them. This went on for months.
Yeah.
And because it's like Jesse was the one that found out they hadn't done it. And I was like, what the hell? So we've had to get on them to do it because I've been paying for that, and then they didn't. And then I found out they had some
That's
issues with
shitty.
one of their other partners and all sorts of other shit. It's not my problem. But so all of a sudden, for almost 6 months, 8 months, I had a non-functioning website, even though they had all the pieces. So
Really?
very annoying. And now with the new AI, you can get AI that can clone any website, modify it for you, and do it in less than an hour.
Yeah, you could use Lovable or all sorts of different things these days. You could put it together like that and be it all built on like a high conversion, offer driven, and then all the way through. Like, yeah, there's someone that's dropping the ball for you on that sort of stuff. That's, I would invite you to say next to their services.
I will plan on doing that. I just have to get more stuff done before I do that.
Yeah,
But that's already been,
get it from
yeah,
them, and then go and take it to the next level. Yeah. Wow.
yeah, all
And
good.
have you thought about embedding any tech into your offer?
I had not, but I do think it's going to be coming. And ultimately, I'll give you two examples: Russell Brunson and Russell Ruffino. Russ Ruffino decided they were both in Dan Kennedy's mastermind, and they were one of three people doing over $3 million a year in coaching at the time. They were the only three. And then Frank Kern, Russell Brunson, and Russ Ruffino. They're all in Frank Kern's or in Dan Kennedy's mastermind. Russell was a good coach, but not a great coach. Super nice guy. But Russell Brunson decided he created ClickFunnels, right? He decided to create the software, very much like Levi Strauss didn't hunt for gold. He provided tools and genes for the miners. That's what Russell Brunson did. He built that to probably $200 million a year. In Russ Ruffino, we got up to $30 million a year, but that's it. That's the difference between one that had software and one that was kind of on that side versus the guy that was actually coaching and doing it. We created more millionaires than Russell Brunson, even though he had groups of 300,000. We never had that many people, but we had more 7-figure and 8-figure earners than Russell was putting across stage. But Russell Brunson made a shitload more money. And he had a good product and service at first. I think he's been replaced. ClickFunnels, I don't think is anywhere near as viable as it used to be. But that was just one of those things. But yes, I am going to need to start looking at what would those, AI type tools could be within your sales to help you clarify your offer, to help you clarify your key leverage points. What questions do you need to ask to get to the truth of your specific industry? Because that's where I usually come in. If I'm working with HVAC, I can write the questions and show them how to write their structure in one call. If they're selling door to door, I can go ahead and change that script so they've got a powerful hook at the beginning, 5 seconds, and then here's how to get to the point on your door to door. If you're raising money, okay, here's how you could, so it's going to be something probably affiliated like that, unless you had a different idea about stuff we could do with AI.
Well, I'm wondering, would you be opposed to checking out a SaaS product that I'm in beta for right now?
Absolutely. Would
Okay.
absolutely look at that.
Okay. Yeah.
The ultimate goal is to make Sales Alchemy a household name in the world of sales. I'm not going to argue with the Jordan Belforts and let them keep teaching their dog shit. But when people see the results I'm getting versus what they're getting and not getting there, those guys are feeders for me. They don't even know it because my stuff actually
Good
works.
point. Excellent point. Yeah. You're
And
like,
so
bring it
I
on.
have to go and get the
I can
brand out.
take that to the bank every day. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the kind of thing where I have to get out there because, again, the only reason that Cole Gordon and Jeremy Miner and some of these guys did it because I was just serving their clients within COD and Russ. And meanwhile, they took my content and built $1 million businesses around my content. So
damn it.
They're not doing the heart and the human part of it, which drives me crazy. There's nowhere in their content do they talk about honoring the human being and serve them and do whatever's right by the client. That's not anywhere in their programs. So it's all about closing. And it's like, okay, knock yourself out. I think it's time we elevate the system. So, but yeah.
Yeah, elevate it. And like, I don't know, it sounds cliche, but like, that second one that you said with like the sales team 6 or whatever, doing the little things of like trademarking those, right? And just kind of like giving it that like larger than life persona on what it is. And like, not necessarily calling out like the fakeness or the AI duplication of you through Cole Gordon and stuff, right? But like absolutely shining that light of you, right? And from when you are authentic at the beginning all the way through to like what your new trends around authenticity are. And so you're sharing that story. Like, I mean, that's why you have your program. That's why you have your followers and things like that. And so, yeah, just, happy to support, like proud to know you.
Appreciate it.
And yeah, looking forward to connecting more. As far as this SaaS goes, I wish I had something more for you, but it's in beta and they're wanting to do it right. They're literally spending millions on it.
Nice.
Have been for a while, and it's got like multi tiers. And so when it's kind of, more ready, then we can have another conversation.
That'd be great.
Assuming that Big Bear doesn't go sliding off the face of the mountain this weekend.
I know. I think we'll be okay right now, but I do worry
You're not near
about
a burn scar or anything, are you?
the two big things I worry about are fire and then a huge earthquake,
Yeah,
and
you're not near a burn scar, are you?
no, but I'm right. Literally, I'm looking out at trees in every direction. I am adjacent to the national forest. I am the last house. My front porch is the trailhead. So there's
Wow,
no,
dude, that's
so
sick.
it's great, but I am the most at risk for, if fire happens,
Yeah,
but I'll leave that up to God.
yeah, 100%. Well, stay safe.